Good morning, everyone. It is the morning after the match before, and all is good in the world. All is good in the world. Panic over. Second win in a week. Brennan Johnson scores a goal. Maddison's back to his best. Bentancur looks good. Solanke gets his first goal. Angie's smiling. The fans are cheering. What could be wrong with that? What could be wrong with that? Well, this is Tottenham. This is Tottenham. And not all Tottenham fans are happy clappers like me. Nah, seriously, I'm not a happy clapper. I'm not a happy clapper. I like to think that I'm balanced. I try to be balanced. I try to be honest about how I feel, about what I see, and where we're going. But at the same time as all that, you certainly have to have a view of, what am I in this for? What are my motivations for supporting Tottenham? What am I expecting to get from it? What's the end game? Well, when you first start following your football team, it's because of your love for football, number one. You get an affiliation with a team, whether that be because of family or friends or the style of play or whatever it might be. But once you've got your team, you've got your team, and you've got your team for life. You're never going to change it. I've said this multiple amounts of times, right? And ultimately, you're there for the experience. You're there to enjoy winning, ideally trophies or big trophies and stuff like that. But surely you are there to see your team win a football match. And if you can't enjoy that win, if you can't just go, what a great result that was, then you have to kind of question what's your motivation overall, right? And what's your expectations. Now, the problem is with a lot of not so much the fans, but I guess because this is how we're conditioned, right? This is how we're conditioned since the inception of the Premier League and social media and all those kind of things. We're all directed in a certain way. We know it, even from things like politics and stuff like that. You see so much of a certain agenda, you kind of follow that. You follow that route, or they tell you what they tell you, and depending on who you follow, depends on what you're thinking, I guess. So it's very hard to just kind of think for yourself and go, well, this is how I feel about it, right? So there are fans, YouTube channels, which I've seen, and Twitter accounts and all that are basically just saying today, well, it's only Brentford, injury ravaged, we should always be beating them, wait till you start meeting the big teams, blah, blah, blah. Well, just so as you know, just beating a big team doesn't win you anything. Not unless they're the team you're playing in the final, for instance. But in a league situation, you don't have to beat every big team to win everything. You don't. You can get draws, an odd loss, and all the rest of it. And I know that's increasingly difficult, right? But that's increasingly difficult because you've got teams like Manchester City that are just a juggernaut that's just going through everything, right? They're going through everything because that's the sort of team they are. They've been able to build that squad over a fairly long period now, and now they just have to add the odd £100 million player to really make the difference. Whereas poor old Tottenham have literally had to clear out almost every single player from the first team through the squad to start again, because we need to start again, because unfortunately all the players that we had were either aging or don't want to be there, don't want to be bit part players, don't play the right style that the manager wants, and so on. So you've had to have a massive clear out. That's going to take time, right? And they said that at the beginning. This is going to take time. It's not going to be a 5-minute thing. I don't want to just win a cup for the sake of winning a cup. I want to be able to give sustained success to this football club in the right way. So unless you really, really want a nation state or some multi-billionaire who wants this as his plaything, then that's not going to happen, right? Why would ENIC sell out something that's making them so much money? You know, and why would they spend more and more and more and more and more just to satisfy, you know, us as fans? Because they know we are a captured audience. We're going to support the club, whatever, you know. So lots of, you know, and the point is, I guess, that there was lots of people calling for, or have said, like, you know, we should boycott games and blah, 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 and all the rest of it. And before the game, there was loads of tickets for sale. Loads of tickets for sale. People were posting it all over. Oh, look at all these tickets, look at all these tickets, and blah, blah, blah. There was still 60,000 people there. And when you watched it on the TV, you watched the highlights, it was still a full stadium, right? So ultimately, even when there's loads of tickets available, you still had a fairly full stadium. I mean, I saw the highlights of the West Ham game, and there was, you know, spaces everywhere, you know, just looking at that. So you kind of think to yourself, well, that ain't working either. You know, people kind of just not turn up. If they don't want to turn up, they don't want to turn up. Now, you know, I guess the situation is this, you know, for me, I'm really happy. I'm really happy. Solanke scored a great poacher's goal, following up exactly what a striker should do, following things up, looking for the mistakes. And I called this out the other day. Most goals come from either brilliance, like the one scored against us, or they come from someone making a mistake, you know, a slow pass or dwelling on the ball or whatever. The keeper doesn't push it the right way; he pushes it towards Solanke, who's going to lap that up, right? So fantastic to see that, right? Because that's exactly what you want from that type of player, right? His overall play was really, really good. He was holding up the ball well. He was running well. He was challenging. You know, you can't ask for more than that. And then, of course, from another great interception, someone dallying on the ball, you get the Brennan Johnson goal, who had a couple of them during that game and managed to score 2 in 2 games to answer his critics. He's doing his answering his critics on the football pitch, which is the right thing to do, right? And fair play to him. You know, at the end of the day, he's not given up doing what he's been asked to do and playing the way he's been asked to play, and it's come off for him. So, you know, more than happy for that. You know, I'm not saying he's a world beater. I'm not saying he's the best thing since sliced bread. I'm not saying he's, you know, the answer. But at the end of the day, he's a Tottenham player who you've got to support, who's doing his job as he is asked to the best of his ability. I don't believe a player deserves personal hatred for how he for playing a game of football. And then, of course, the icing on the cake has to be Maddison's performance and the fact that he took such a lovely goal right at the end to absolutely kill it right at the very end. And late goals are always brilliant, aren't they? Late goals are always brilliant. Great ball by Sonny, who could have took that on himself, to be fair, but he played the ball and Maddison runs onto it, and a nice little left foot chip over the keeper just to seal those points, put everyone at ease. And hallelujah, we move on to the next game. Obviously, there's a couple of shaky moments in there. It appears that Vicario is now the next person who's going to get loads and loads of abuse, because I've seen loads of abuse for him. I don't think that Vicario is a bad goalkeeper. There are parts of his game he needs to improve. But then that's the same for all players. They all need to improve somewhere along the line. I'd love to see him command his area more. I'd love to see him command his defence more. But at the end of the day, from shots away, he kept us in that game yesterday. There was a couple of really good saves in there that you have to say, well, fair play. I'd rather him be in there, you know, than maybe Forster or one of the Austin or Whiteman or whatever, because he has ability, and he does have ability, and he can play the ball with his feet, despite people saying he can't. He can. Generally speaking, he can. It's more about our feeling the pressure of him, you know, of the ball being passed around the back, because we're not confident in it. But the players seem confident in it. Okay, he made a mistake. He dwelled. like I said, mistakes happen. He made a mistake. He dwelled, but he still managed to get in the way. He still managed to make the save, and we played out, and it wasn't a goal. So they didn't score the goal. He got there. Handball. Okay, let's talk about that. From one angle, it actually, like from behind the goal, it actually didn't look too much like it. From the other angle, you can see he clearly played it with his hand. But that happens, right? Players get out of position and forget where they are. He's running out and he's trying to stop the goal. So his instinct is to put his hands out. You know, and if he gets caught by the referee, then fine. He gets caught by the referee, he gets a yellow card or whatever. But he didn't, and it happened, and you're going to get those sorts of things. If you look, I've seen it, and I didn't think about it, but I've seen it a couple of times with people calling out this issue about making it such a big deal. And the fact that you've had two Arsenal players, for instance, and it has to be Arsenal, doesn't it, who both handled the ball in an area that didn't get a penalty, you know, and then you go back, let's do it, let's do that thing where we go back to the 2019 Champions League final when that getting hit there is a handball. So sometimes you get a bit of luck, sometimes you don't get a bit of luck, and that's always been the case. It's always been the way. We will see it time and time again. There will always be inconsistencies because people see things differently in that split second. The ref didn't see it. VAR's not going to get involved in something like that. The game goes on, and did it make a difference in the end? Did it really? No. So the result is the result. The result stands. And it's really great to see Ange feeling a little bit happier and so on. So now we move on to the next game, right? So we celebrated this game. We had a great game. We enjoyed it. We played good football. We scored 3 goals. We won comfortably. Don't matter who it is. Couldn't care less whether it's Brentford or not. Brentford are a Premier League team. They are there to stop you scoring. They didn't. We won the game. And if you can't celebrate that, what's the point? What's the point in going to football, supporting football, watching football, if you can't be happy when your team wins and all you want to do is call out everybody else for being a happy clapper or whatever? I don't get it. I honestly don't get it. Some people's life must be so boring that all they've got to do is complain. Honestly, I just don't get it. I mean, there are people out there obviously doing it for clicks and so on and so on. Because listen, misery and moaning makes clicks, right? People go, that's why this is a small channel. I don't get many views. I don't get many people interacting. I get, regular viewers, you know who you are, who will talk to me, who will talk about the football or whatever. You'll agree, you'll disagree, whatever. And we keep it small. We just keep on plodding on, doing what we're doing, because we're not reactionary. I don't do that, shouting and screaming and throwing things and all the rest of it. What's the point? I'm nearly 60 years of age. Why would I be doing stuff like that just for clicks, right? It's just not worth it. This for me is just a bit of therapy, a bit of fun, just to talk about how I felt about the game. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was a great game. I thought we played really, really well. We got the 3 points. We got the 3 goals. And all bar a piece of magic from the Bueno, is it? Or whatever his name is. It would have been a perfect win. But listen, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Everyone's entitled to do what they're doing. I'm not knocking anybody for having the opinions they have. That's their opinion. But I just think life's too short, man. Life's too short for that. And I'll just go on. We go on to the next game against Carrier-Bag, and we see how we get on that. Hopefully that's a win, and we move on in that competition. And then we move on to the big test of Man United, that juggernaut and great team that is Man United, that are only Man United because of their history. But listen, it is what it is. What I say is not going to change anyone's opinions or anyone's minds, and I don't care whether it does or it doesn't. I'm just saying we had a great game, we played well, and we should be able to celebrate that and enjoy it. Enjoy the win. That's the point. Football is entertainment. It's about entertaining. It's about getting entertained and enjoying yourself. I enjoyed it. I hope you did too. I'll keep watching, and I'm sure you will do too. Up the Spurs.